So when you're converting two polar coordinates, the main formulas you need to know are tangent of the angle equals y over x, and x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Because when you go two polar coordinates, it's r comma theta. So tangent of the angle is going to equal -6/3. Which is just -2. So we need to know what angle has a tangent of -2. So we will do arctan of -2. So shift tangent -2. So we get -63.435. Now, that's not useful in that form because we don't want a negative angle. We want a positive angle that has the same spot as that. So first, think about where we are. This point would go 3 units to the right and down 6, which means we're in quadrant 4. So if we just add 360 onto this, that gives us the same positive angle in the correct quadrant. $296.565. And clearly that's in degrees. If you had that in radians, you could just convert it or whatever you need to right now. But this should be in radians. So to multiply degrees, 2 radians, you multiply by pi and divide by 180. So it'd be 5.176 radians. So there's our angle. To get the radius, r squared, do x squared plus y squared. So that's 9 plus 36, 45. With square root of 45, you could simplify that to be 3 square root 5. So in polar coordinates, that'll be r, which is 3 square root 5. And then the radians, 5.176. So now we're converting these polar coordinates to rectangular coordinates. So we need to use x equals r cosine theta and y equals r sine theta. So r is -5 and the angle is 1.57 radians. And here we have r is -5 and then sine 1.57 radians. So make sure your calculator is in radians. And it's -5 cosine 1.57. So negative 3.98 times 10 to the negative third. That's how my calculator displayed it. So that means I should be moving this 3 spaces to the left. So that'd be negative 0.00398 is the x coordinate. We'll discuss that in just a second. Y equals negative 5 sine 1.57. Should be almost negative 5. Negative 4.999998. That's our y value. So I'd be okay if you wrote them actually out this way. If you're a little bit less precise and you said 0 and 5, that's really pretty okay too. The reason that it's practically 0 for the x coordinate is because this is practically pi over 2, which means we're at the top of the unit circle where the x value will be 0. So that's why it's so close to 0, because that's pretty much pi over 2. It's just pi over 2 rounded. And then a length of negative 5, that makes sense. So that's okay. Or if you just said 0 comma negative 5, that's really just off by rounding, and that's good as well. So pretty much the same question here. X equals r cosine theta. Y equals r sine theta. So that's 8 times cosine 5 pi over 6. And this will be 8 times sine 5 pi over 6. So 5 pi over 6, we know that without the calculator. It's cosine is negative square root of 3 over 2. And sine is 1 over 2. So that's negative 4 square root of 3, and this is just